In September 2011, inside a gleaming office tower in the heart of London, a man sat down at his desk. He opened his terminal and he made a trade. Not just any trade, a trade that would vaporize $2 billion before the end of the week. That would send shockwaves through global markets, wipe billions off the bank's share price, force out its CEO, and land that man in a prison cell. Now, here's the part that should keep you up at night. This wasn't a hacker. This wasn't a rival nation. This was one employee, one desk, one set of passwords, and a system so broken it didn't just let him do it. It couldn't stop him even when it tried. This is the story of the trade that should have never happened, and the bank that built the perfect conditions for it anyway. To understand what went wrong, you first have to understand what UBS was supposed to be. Not just a bank, not even just a big bank. UBS was the bank that other banks aspired to become. Founded in Switzerland, offices in over 50 countries, assets under management that, at its peak, topped $3 trillion, larger than the entire GDP of France. UBS didn't just hold money. It held dynasties, governments, sovereign wealth funds, clients who didn't call customer service. They called a private number most people didn't know exists. Its reputation rested on one word: stability. Swiss banks don't gamble. Swiss banks don't make reckless bets. Swiss banks don't make reckless bets. They are the financial equivalent of a vault. Cold, precise, unshakable. That was the story UBS told the world. But underneath the marble floors and the polished press releases, UBS had a problem. It had a trading floor. And on a trading floor, the only thing that matters is the number at the bottom of the screen, green or red, up or down, win or lose. And in 2011, on UBS's trading floor in London, someone was losing badly. His name was Kweku Adoboli. Born in Ghana, raised across multiple countries, Iraq, Syria, Israel, the United States, the son of a United Nations official. He was sharp, charismatic, the kind of person who lit up a room. He came to Britain as a teenager, studied at the University of Nottingham, and graduated with ambitions bigger than most of his classmates could imagine. He wanted into the world behind the glass tower, and remarkably, he made it. UBS hired him as an intern in 2003. By 2006, he was on the Delta One trading desk in London. Delta One desks aren't supposed to be exciting. They track indices, manage ETFs, mirror market movements with mechanical precision. Low risk, low drama, steady returns. That was the theory. By 2011, Adoboli was a senior trader. Respected, praised, a rising star by every external measure. He wasn't the villain the tabloids would later make him out to be. He was a young man in a high-pressure industry who made one bad decision and then another, until the decisions were no longer small. He wasn't supposed to be the one making billion-dollar calls, but he was close enough to the system to try. Here's how it starts. Not with a villainous plan, not with greed on day one. It starts with a bad trade. Adoboli takes a position, a directional bet on the market. It goes wrong. The loss is real. It's on the books, sitting there waiting to be discovered. In that moment, what do? If you follow the rules, you report it, flag it to your risk manager, take the hit, absorb the lesson, move on. Most traders do exactly that. But Adoboli doesn't. He hides it. Not with some elaborate scheme, not yet. Just simply a fake hedge here, a fictitious offsetting position there. On paper, the risk looks covered. In reality, it isn't. Why does he do it? It wasn't pure greed. It was fear. Fear of failure. Fear of the conversation with his manager. Fear of being the one who made the mistake in an industry that doesn't forgive mistakes. So, he tells himself something simple. I'll fix it before anyone notices. Those 6 words. The most dangerous sentence in the history of finance. Because no one ever fixes it before anyone notices. They just lose more trying. The cover-up works. For a while. And that's the terrifying part. The fake hedges hold. Risk systems don't flag anything critical. His managers see what they expect. No one asks the question that would unravel everything. Are these hedges real? Here's what you need to understand. Every trade is supposed to have a hedge, a position on the other side that limits your losses. But the system wasn't verifying reality. It was verifying entries, and Adoboli controlled the entries. He created internal accounts, umbrella accounts. When a real trade created a real loss, he booked a fake offsetting again. From the outside, everything looked balanced. From the inside, it was a black hole. At this point, it's no longer a mistake, because the losses are too large to hide. So, he does the only thing he can think of. He makes bigger trades. His original problem was a bad trade. His solution made it worse. His next solution made it catastrophic. At this point, he wasn't trading anymore. He was gambling. And the market doesn't lose. It's September 2011. Markets are already unstable. The Eurozone crisis is unfolding. The worst possible time to be exposed. The market moves. Not in his favor. The losses explode. In days, the hole in UBS's books grows to over $2 billion. Gone. Not delayed, not hidden, gone. And then, after months of silence, the system finally reacts. On September 14th, Adoboli sends an email. He confesses. Unauthorized trades, real losses, hedges that don't exist. He doesn't run. He just tells them. Within hours, emergency response. Within 24 hours, regulators involved. Within 48 hours, global headlines. UBS's stock drops 10% in a single day. The CEO resigns, and Adoboli is arrested. He is 31 years old. By the time they saw it, the money was already gone. Here's what the headlines told you. A rogue trader. One man, one mistake. But that explanation is too simple. Because the real question is, how was he able to do it? UBS had risk systems, compliance teams, oversight. None of them stopped it. Warnings existed, questions were raised, but they weren't followed through. Because the system rewarded one thing above all else. Returns. Not caution, not verification, returns. Asking too many questions wasn't rewarded. It was discouraged. So, people didn't ask, and Adoboli knew they wouldn't. He was sentenced to 7 years. He lost everything. But the system? It continued. The system didn't just allow the mistake. It needed it. In the end, one man went to prison. The bank paid a fine and moved on. Within years, UBS was back to managing trillions. Because banks like this don't disappear. They adapt. They reset. And the pressure returns. The bonuses return. The risk returns. And somewhere on a trading floor, someone is looking at a loss, telling themselves they'll fix it before anyone notices. The system is still there, still operating, still trusted. The only question is, who's sitting at the desk right now? If you want to understand the next financial crisis before it happens, subscribe. Because these stories aren't history, they're a preview.